Okay, so I just did a quick kind of 10-15 minute analysis on the website here and on sort of the e-commerce that you have going on. And so I do hope that this is helpful for you. I will tell you, I'm not super familiar with this particular industry. We don't have any clients in this industry, but that's okay. It's I think this is going to be helpful for you either way. So let me just kind of launch into this real quick. So first of all, I first took a look at the website, and typically the first thing that I always do anytime I first look at a website is I just look at the page speed. Looks like you're ranking very well on the page speed side of things, on the GT metrics side. On Google page speed, at least on mobile, you're kind of hurting a little bit. So I think that you probably want to raise that up so you can just do a Google page speed. Because the thing is, a lot of people are probably looking at your website from a mobile device, and if it's loading slowly, then they're probably going to bounce off, and that means that you're just going to potentially lose a sale. So you can go over here and do a Google page speed analysis thing and sort of figure out what is actually costing you page speed issues. And you can kind of look through here, and it just looks like it might just be some code stuff that your developer needs to clean up. Probably not a super big deal. The good news is on desktop, you're in relatively good shape, and GT Metrics, which tends to be a little bit more liberal when it comes to speed, they're giving you good grades. So you're not in really bad shape there by any means. The other thing that I always check for is to see if the site is mobile responsive, which in your case it totally is. Like it contours to the mobile device, which is important. There's a lot of sites that are not, or where they are mobile responsive, but once they go to mobile, they just completely become useless. So yours is in good shape there. So technically you're good here. Couple things that I wanted to just point out that you could consider after I did a little bit of research on some other competitors in your industry. You may want to look at classifying your products differently. So I have home, and then I have the all products, and then by year. And I'm not quite sure if you've done market research to figure out if you should classify by year, or if you should do, tops, bottoms, accessories, and so on. It would seem to me that classifying by year could be a detriment, because like if you have inventory from 2019 that you want to sell, it seems like people would be less likely to visit this page, because for the most part, people want newer stuff. So by classifying as 2019 compared to 2022, you may be losing sales because people just aren't visiting that page. I don't know that because I'm not looking at your Google Analytics. I'm just thinking about sort of human psychology and human behavior. It would seem like people would want to go to the newer stuff, so you wouldn't be getting appropriate credence on your 2019 stuff. So I would recommend testing a different classification structure. So one that I saw was this one over here. So they've got the newest stuff up here, top left corner, tops, bottoms, accessories, and so on and so forth. And, this is a relatively big company, I think. This is a pretty big competitor, so they've probably done a lot of that research and have found that that is the right way to go. And it would seem to me that it would be the right way to go. So you may want to look at that. The other thing, too, that I want to point out here that I would love to see on your website is more faces, people enjoying the product. There's a lot of beautiful clothes here, but there's nobody with them on, right? There's and buyers, they really want to buy the result. They don't want to buy the thing. They don't want to buy the means to the end. They actually want to buy the end. And for your buyers, the end is this. Being able to sort of be that person that's in the picture that they're looking at, right? Be that person who's actually, and see, these guys don't do a whole lot of it either, right? But see, so being the people that are actually wearing these clothes, right? I think that if you could figure out a way to incorporate some images of either yourself or some models wearing these clothes, that would resonate more with your target audience. They would sort of get to see what they look like. And if you look at most clothing sites, they're going to have models actually modeling their clothes, and there's a reason for that, right? So I would definitely try to get some pictures of people wearing the clothes on the website. I would also just in general potentially add a little bit more pops of color to the site. I'm not 100% sure how exactly you want to do it. I mean, maybe you can have like a tab that says sale items or new or whatever the case may be. I love the black on the white. I really do. I just think you may want to add a pop of color, additional pop of color here and there. And certainly if you have people on the site, that is going to mix things up as well. But So moving on to sort of the next thing, I would also love to see sort of a classification of any sale items you had. So for instance, I know that as I was scrolling down here, maybe it was on one of your pages over here, but I know that I was seeing some items that were actually on sale. It was probably on some of the older ones, maybe 2019. Anyways, if you can figure out, if you can classify yeah, right here. So if you can, instead of titling this 2019, create sort of like a clearance section or a sales section, that would potentially help you unload some of this older inventory if you still have a lot of this inventory hanging around. The other thing that would be helpful to you would be to create some sort of scarcity or some sort of time sensitivity to this whole thing. So one of these websites that I had checked out actually has some sort of a counter on the top, and this one right here. So yeah, so these guys right here, they've got this red thing at the top that makes you feel like, hey, you gotta jump on this in the next 3 hours or else you're gonna miss out on something. And fear of missing out is a big issue for people, right? They don't want to miss out on sales. So by actually having a live countdown here, they're creating an intense sort of feeling in my mind where I'm going, okay, I better hurry up and do this, because if I don't, I'm going to lose this 60% off deal. So, give people a really good offer and then make it time sensitive, and you'll move a lot more inventory that way. Obviously, you have to keep up with that, right? So you're always going to want to have some sort of an offer maybe happening. And it's only on certain things, right? But then at the same time, in that same line, they have new arrivals shop now. That stuff is definitely not going to be on sale, I don't think. But what it's doing is it's drawing my eye to that line. So I'm either going to buy something that they're trying to get rid of, or I'm going to buy something that is, that's brand new, right? And actually, now that I'm reading this, maybe it is actually on sale. I don't know, 60% off of everything. But the point is, it's all time sensitive, and they're giving me a reason to do something right now instead of just sort of feeling like, well, I can just wait and do it whenever I want. So however you incorporate that, I think that's a good idea. I think you should do that. Okay, back over here. The other thing too that I wanted to point out is that a lot of these brands have, like when you first open up the website, there's some sort of a pop-up. And a lot of e-commerce brands do that. And the pop-up gives you 15% off for signing up for my email list, or for signing up for offers to your inbox. And then you can even have people select, whether they want to be sent men's or women's clothing offers, those types of things, right? So that comes up right at you as you're coming to the website. Some people find it to be annoying, but most of the time, people who incorporate pop-ups like that on their e-commerce websites, when somebody first enters the website, they see massive lift in email address collection. And you got to think, a lot of people are already coming to your website anyways. Why not grab an email from them? Why not get them into your email rotations so that you can continue to market to them and let them know when new arrivals have come in and sales are going on and so on. So they're already coming to your site. I think that you should capture an email address, figure out a reason for them to give you an email. And the sort of the tried and true method in e-com is to hit them with a pop-up as soon as they get there. Okay, I also want to go into your titles, descriptions, and sort of the way things are lined out. So I did some quick keyword research here for you. So these are sort of the terms that people often use in association with what you offer, I believe. And there's streetwear clothing, there's streetwear shop, there's all these things. But for the most part, what I like to try and do, if I'm trying to gain quick wins for a client, if I'm trying to sort of pluck low-hanging fruit off of the tree, is I want to find terms that have the least amount of competition that I can rank you at the top of Google for first, right? So that you can get sales now. And then in the future, we're going after the ones that are far more competitive and so on. So I would be focusing on some of these terms that have very low competition. So for instance, let's just say streetwear hoodies. And I haven't delved too far into your site. I don't know if you sell hoodies, right? But let's just say you do. I would want a whole section called streetwear hoodies. I would want everything titled that way. I would want to have like a whole page dedicated to it, maybe a whole section of the website and so on. I would want titles, descriptions, all talking about streetwear hoodies. And again, I'm just using that as an example. We could delve very, very far into this. This video could get very, very long. You could have a whole blog about streetwear style. It does not look as though there's a whole lot of competition for that. It's a very low cost per click, and you could become an authority on streetwear style because that is obviously what you want to be. The good news is it seems like it would be pretty easy to get you up to the top of Google for that because there's not a ton of competition. So how would we do that? I think that you first would need to work on your titles and descriptions of your site and the overall mock-up. So for instance, I took a look at your title and description right now. Let me get back over to the homepage so that we can look at the homepage title and description. And by the way, this is not what it used to be. Title, description, H1s, H2, they're not as important as they used to be, but they are still very important, especially when we're talking about the homepage. The content on your homepage is very important. All right, so the title, Alliance New York, Alliance NY, that's a good title, but you have 30 more characters that you can use. So you could have something like streetwear, you could have keywords in there that you want to rank for that talk about streetwear, that talk about streetwear style and streetwear trends and so on, and have those right in your title. And that will just in and of itself help your site rank a little bit more prominently for it. It won't do it all, but it's a good first step. Same thing with your description. I would really love to see more keywords in this description, and I want to see those keywords a little bit closer to the front. Description doesn't really help your SEO, but it is an advertisement basically for your business. So I want you to tell me what your business is about very, very clearly, and who it's for. So I would probably just work on the description a little bit and maybe reduce the number of characters, because basically everything after 150 characters gets pretty much cut off in the Google search engines. Okay, we're going fast, but I also don't want this video to be super crazy long. So I would also just examine these H1s and H2s. So H1s are the most important headings on the page. H2s are the second most important, and so on. And then I would want my H1s and H2s to align with the keywords that I'm actually trying to rank for. And I would also love to see more content, more text on this homepage. It doesn't have to be a crazy amount of text, but I would love to see sort of a section, at least at the bottom, that talks a little bit more about your business, a little bit more about the customers that you serve, and so on. Because basically, we have about 5 seconds to capture people's attention when they get to the website, maybe even a little bit less than that. But the Google search bots, right, will read every word on your homepage. So any word that we can write on your homepage that's relevant to the keywords that you want to actually show up for and gain sales for are going to be very important. So you probably would want to work on that. Other ways that you can get this website to show up more prominently in search include building more backlinks to your website. So a backlink is another link that links to your site. So I did a quick backlink analysis for you, and you don't have a lot of backlinks right now. And the backlinks that you have are not really high quality. They're not super authoritative backlinks. As opposed to if we look at one of these big competitors, which obviously, they're going to have a ton of backlinks, right? But I just want to show you kind of what a good backlink profile looks like. So I believe this is the one that I had looked at. If not, no, this isn't even it. Maybe it was this one. Sorry. Yeah, this was the one. So these guys have done a really good job of building backlinks. And the reason backlinks are important is that if an authoritative website links to your website, then that is basically, in Google's mind, a vote for the quality of your website. And a quality website is always going to rank a lot higher in search than a website that isn't of very high quality, right? So that's why backlinks are so important, and specifically backlinks from websites that are authoritative. So let's take a look at this, right? So let's take a look at rockstaroriginal.com. They've got all these backlinks, right? And they've got backlinks from what look like pretty authoritative, like blog sites. Now, who the heck knows? They might have actually just paid to have these articles written about them and backlinked to their site, but it probably would not be very hard for you to do the exact same thing. So these are all just blogs that, and my internet's slowing down because I just clicked like 15 things. I probably shouldn't have done that. So there's a huge storm going on where I am right now, and so the internet's touch and go anyway. Anyway, these are all blogs. It's pretty straightforward and easy to get your stuff published on blogs. One of the ways that you can do it is literally just to Google something like streetwear brands over here. And what do you see? You see first of all, you see these are the ones that I clicked on when I did this research, right? Because I wanted to do this quick. But then what you see is 11 essential streetwear brands, 23 streetwear, 33, 25, 35. All these are lists of streetwear brands. And it probably wouldn't be very hard to write a letter to this trendspotter.net people and say, hey, I think you should be taking a look at my streetwear brand, or maybe pay to be on their website as an advertiser, and they'll probably give you the 36th spot or something. And then that gives you that backlink, right? But if you do that enough, times, and you get onto all of these lists and you get written about and you start getting picked up, then you're going to start receiving a lot more inbound traffic, first of all, from these lists. And second of all, because you're just going to appear more prominently organically because of all of those great backlinks that you're creating. Okay, so definitely want to do some work on your backlinks to get more traffic. Okay, so let's go back over here. I want to focus a little bit more on the website before we wrap up here. I wanted to try to keep this under 15 minutes. I've already failed at that. But there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot for us to delve into here. I love the fact that you have the chat with us widget here. That's really cool. Definitely keep that. One thing that I did want to just kind of go over with you here is the shopping cart experience. So, and which, by the way, is a good experience. So I don't want you to think that it isn't. But I did want to just mention something. So when I came over here and I put something in my shopping cart, let's just say it's this thing, this t-shirt here, which I love, by the way. And I say add to cart, and then I view my cart, right? So if I'm in my cart right now, I want to have some, say I hit checkout, right? First of all, I want to have some software on this website that if my mouse, so right now I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking about buying, but I haven't bought yet. If my mouse starts traveling up this way, you know where I'm going, right? You know where I'm going, to the back button because I'm having second thoughts or whatever, right? That is the point at which I think that you sort of want to give me something that entices me to stay on your site. So give me a discount code. Give me some reason to stay here. Give me some one-click upsell. Hey, get a pair of socks for $1 if you put them in your cart right now. Those are the kinds of things, right? If my mouse goes up here, and that kind of software does 100% exist. The other thing too is that if you can get me to put my email address in, and if you can get me to sort of go through a couple of steps, if you can make me put my email address in a little bit sooner in the process, and then I abandon this cart and I leave the cart where it is and I go off of your website and do something else, you want to be able to continue emailing me and let me know, hey, you've got something left in your cart. And you may already have that, by the way. That may already be in place on your website. I just didn't see it. So if you do, great. If you don't, it's something you probably want to look at, because there are the statistics about cart abandonment are shocking. I can't remember what the last one was that I read, but I want to say it was like 20%. No, I want to say it was like 90% of the carts that are created on e-com sites are abandoned without checking out, which is crazy, right? There's so much money being left on the table. So if you can figure out a way to get more of that back, then that's going to be very helpful. The other thing I think you should do, and you may already be doing this, is if I'm on your website at all, you should have some sort of retargeting set up through either Google Ads or Instagram or Facebook, or TikTok does it too. If you have retargeting set up and I'm on your website, then later on, as I leave your website and I go browse about the internet on all of the other sites that I want to be on, I should start seeing your ads, right? We've all been retargeted a million times. That's how our world is. Getting that set up on your website would probably be very helpful, especially if they hit the cart page but they didn't actually buy. Because if they hit the cart page and they didn't buy, then that's somebody that's very, very interested. So if you can send them a series of ads as they travel about the internet, then I think you're going to see a huge lift in revenue just from people that are already putting things in their cart. And that's just easy money. It's right there. It's right for the picking. So that's my almost 19 minute analysis on some different things that you could do to increase your sales. You could pick 2 of them. I know I went over like 15. You could pick 2 of them and you would probably see a decent result. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on TikTok or on Instagram. And have happy holidays. And I love what you're doing here. Good job.